So there's this thing that happened pretty recently. You know, it was a tweet from Bryan Gannon. If you don't know who Bryan Gannon is, he's literally the creator of, well, what was originally Girls and Gorks, and then what later became Chaotic. He made this tweet right here saying, Chaotic Brand 2.0, first day at licensing show in Las Vegas in the Epic Story Media booth. Go see Ken Fayer and David Stozer. Let's get chaotic. And then showed this picture, which is this artwork of Maxor that I can't recognize. I haven't found anyone who's like, oh yeah, this is definitely from this specific Chaotic card. It looks like there's a booth with Chaotic product, older Chaotic product, and Slug Terra. And it's all very strange, and everyone's going, is this your way of saying Chaotic is coming back? The next thing we found out is that after looking around, there was this article at licensegamingmagazine.com that shows independent content creation and distribution company Epic Story Media Incorporated is expanding its senior team with 2 new hires. Former E1 Acquisitions VP Jessica Labby joins as head of distribution and brand strategy alongside former Nickelodeon VP Toys David Stozer. Same guy that was mentioned in Bryan Gannon's tweet. As head of licensing and merchandise, both working across ESM's growing slate of creator-led brands, the state has recently expanded to represent global licensing rights, international phenomenon Slug Terra, as well as licensing and television rights to Chaotic. Licensing and television. Which sounds like that there's going to be product for Chaotic coming back, and either the TV show or a new TV show. Very vague. The article continues to read, Epic will handle the Chaotic television sales and global licensing for the brand, which previously sold record numbers of trading cards in North America, South America, blah, 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 blah. Activision video game, Shadow Warriors, based on the series, yada, 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 which gained over 2 million, blah, blah, blah. Now, in the past, Bryan Gannon has hinted at Chaotic coming back, and nothing's really happened yet, and we haven't actually seen anything for a new Chaotic, and a lot of the time, any somewhat sort of rumor of Chaotic coming back has always been, it doesn't really hold any water, nothing's really happened, and so when I see this, it's kind of turning a lot of heads, because this is the man himself, Bryan Gannon. He has the credibility, he is the one that's kind of saying, hey, Chaotic may be coming back. And if you read some of the tweets in the comments, in that, the replies, some people are saying, hey, is there going to be content creator support? And he says, yes, we want to focus on the community. And we're like, okay, that makes it sound like he's really trying to push for something new, push a new product, push a new Chaotic. So here's what I can glean from this. 1, I really want this to be true, because I want Chaotic to come back. 2, it's really weird for it to be on Bryan Gannon's Twitter, seeing as his Twitter is boring and he only really posts about sports, and he's very silent on Chaotic all the time, and he's a businessman. I don't really think he's really that into cartoons and trading card games as much as we are, but it would make sense, because he's the only one with the real credibility to say, hey, Chaotic is coming back. The other thing I can glean from this is that artwork, it looks exactly like how Carrie Randolph drew Maxor back when Chaotic was being made. But it doesn't look like anything he's doing now. As of right now, Carrie Randolph is doing a bunch of comic books. I think that this may be an older image of Maxor in the next expansion that never released. What was it, Fire and Ice? It was Fire and Stone? Fire and something? That expansion that never released, and they're probably just reusing that asset because they can. And if you look in the background, there is only older products. So they're not actually showing anything new, which gives me the impression that they don't have anything new. My guess is that this is kind of their way of saying we're starting, which also doesn't make sense, because why would they publicly announce they're starting production when that can only bite them in the butt if they end up not finishing it, if they run out of money, if things don't go right. So that doesn't make sense either. So the chances of this being an actual announcement for Chaotic coming back is a little bit higher than any of the previous rumors than we've heard prior. That being said, me being me knowing the Chaotic community, latching on to anything it can, I'm still skeptical. I just, that's how I am. I don't like to get my hopes up only for it to be let down, okay? Now, if this is them saying, hey, Chaotix is coming back, then we should probably expect more news within the next year. If this is their way of saying they're beginning development of rebooting the IP, then we should probably expect any news within the next 3 years. If we're going to take any information from how long it took Bakugan Battle Planet to actually begin production and reboot and get to the finished piece of toys, a card game, and a show. And there's not going to be as much for Chaotic to do because they're going to be probably just doing a show and cards. They're not going to have to design toys. So it could still just be a year. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Here's my deal with a new Chaotic. They need to get rid of the codes. And I know that the codes is kind of what made Chaotic a big deal. It was unique, it was cool, even though it was implemented kind of clunkily, even though it wasn't really incorporated that well, because they couldn't really incorporate it any better. It was, you had a code, they didn't really have AR scanning technology. And with that being said, if you know like Lightseekers or the new Warhammer Age of Sigmar card game where you actually take your phone and scan the card with AR technology, they shouldn't do that either. I've played Lightseekers, I supported Lightseekers in the very beginning, and it was cool, but it doesn't work. The issue with having codes is that it makes it impossible to sell, because half of the value of the card is whether or not it's been scanned or the code has been used, and you can take advantage of the seller on the secondary market, because that's what happened to me. What happened was I had a Lightseekers card. Let's for the sake of this video, let's assume it's a Chaotic card. Let's make it a hypothetical based on an actual event that happened with me on eBay with Lightseekers. I had about a $50 Lightseekers card. Let's say you have a $50 Chaotic card with the new reboot. You sell it to someone saying, hey, the code hasn't been used, and you covered the code, you made sure nobody could see it, you sent it to them, and what they do is they enter the code, take a picture of their screen, saying, hey, this code has been used, what the heck, even though they just used the code. The person that used the code is them. And so they're just claiming that somebody else saw it because you don't know their username. They could be legit. So that's how you get around it. And then you have to refund them because that's not the product that you gave them. And if they return it, they still keep the code. They still keep the digital version of the card. And that's how you get screwed over. So though I like the idea of the codes, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Having a digital platform is good. Hearthstone, Magic Arena, those are all really great. I love those, I play them. But having it to where you can transfer the physical thing to the digital doesn't work, especially since it's so tedious. The tedium with entering every single individual card, oh my gosh, especially for people like me who open booster boxes after booster boxes after booster boxes. Having to enter each and every single one of those codes, it's a nightmare. Having, you know, a code card at the back where it gives you a booster pack online, like with the Pokemon TCG, OCG, it's Pokemon Online Trading Card Game, that works. I like that. But the point is, and I know a lot of people are going to be upset with me saying this, the codes can't work. They don't. The codes don't work. And so if the Chaotic reboot comes back, they need to get rid of the codes. And if they're already well into production, and they already decided that they're keeping the codes, then it's too late. And my guess is that Chaotic will die just because of that, which I don't want to happen. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love Chaotic. I want Chaotic to come back. I've just seen the underbelly of card games, and I know what's wrong, and I know what's right, and I know what works, and I know what doesn't. Okay. With that being said, If there's any new information that comes out, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to be telling you guys. So be sure to subscribe for anything new. That being said, there's probably not going to be any new news for a while, because any news like this is always like this. It's always just a post. It's always just, I mean, at least we got a picture this time. Frankly, I think the way they did it was terrible. I think the way he made this post was very bland and vague, and it was probably intentionally vague just to get our palates wet. But a video, you know, it doesn't need to be a fancy video, just like a video of a new card, just like proof of something new, because all we've seen in this picture is old stuff. If they have no old stuff, If they have no new stuff, if they have no new stuff to show, then they shouldn't have made this post. They shouldn't have gotten us excited over literally nothing. They're getting us excited over a booth at a licensing expo. It's a licensing expo. It's not even like a convention. It's for businesses. It's for business to business, which is confusing when I say that to people who haven't taken marketing classes. Business to business, it's not for consumers. It's for a business, like say, what was it, Epic? ESM? What was it? Yeah, I think it was ESM in that article. From ESM to, let's say, Walmart, saying, hey, we're making this new toy. How about you put it on your shelves? We're not part of that transaction. And so this post doesn't make sense to me. I think Bryan Gannon has an idea of what he's doing. I mean, obviously he does. You know, he's been in this business. He's done this. He's done this stuff. He won the lawsuit from 4Kids to get control of his own brand, of his own intellectual property. But marketing it like this just is weird. It doesn't make sense. And it is working to a certain degree. I mean, look at me. I'm making a video on it. I mean, that much is working. But there's nothing to really talk about other than, oh, Chaotix's coming back, which isn't actually really confirmed. And if the title of the reboot is actually Chaotic 2.0, like it says in the tweet, that's a terrible name. That could also kill the brand. That could also kill the reboot. If new people who haven't played Chaotic prior see, oh, Chaotic 2.0, well, where's 1.0? I want to play the first one first. And so they just drop 2.0 and go, I'm gonna go hunt for the first one. And the first one is dead. Then they don't buy the 2.0 and they just get confused and they get frustrated and they just don't. They just say, that's dumb, I'm leaving. And that's a possibility. So 1, the tweet is working, but it's weird. 2, there's not as much to glean from the tweet as we want. 3, I'm keeping my expectations low because we've seen this a few times in the past and usually nothing has come out of it. That's me being the negative in the negative legend there. Usually I'm actually a pretty positive guy, but when it comes to Chaotic, I'm just getting so cynical because I've gotten my hopes up so many times, only to have nothing happen. So, excuse me, but that's how I am. 4, there's nothing. If there is something out of this, we still have to wait, which is the worst part, which is why I don't think this post should have been made. And with that being said, Bryan Gannon, if you're watching this and you want someone to make content for the new Chaotic that you are possibly coming out with, I'm your guy, you know? I will if this is all true, I don't care if it has a bad name, I don't care if the marketing strategy is really wonky. You give me product, I'll open it, I'll talk about it, I'll help you out, I'll do what you need. I got you, okay? You know, me, call me. Text me. I can't message you on Twitter. You don't have you can message me on Twitter. My messages on Twitter is open for anyone. I've tried messaging you, but you don't have your messages open, and it makes it difficult to contact you. I don't even know if you're the guy I need to contact. Get the person who should be contacting me to contact me, and we can do business, okay? Okay. So, that's everything I have for this video. Tell me what you want from the Chaotic reboot. Tell me about any new information that you have for the Chaotic reboot in the description, in the comments below. If you want to support the channel, please support my Patreon, because at this point I'm going to be supporting Bakugan and Force of Will, and if Chaotic comes out, I'm going to have to drop one of the two, and I don't want to. So, yeah, Patreon is in the description below. Stay beautiful, and keep playing.